What's up, everybody? I'm back. I was on a work trip other side of the country, and now I'm back. So I'm doing something now that I hadn't decided whether or not I was going to make a video about it. So I'll just make this quick little impromptu video, not very informative. So, but at this point, you guys are all experts on how to remove and install an airbag and remove and replace the steering wheel. So this video is going to be how do you change the paddles on your steering wheel. So let me just show you what I'm working with right now. All right, so the face of it, the airbag's gone. The airbag's actually sitting back there in the back seat. The seat's out. Seat's out because I spilled some water on the carpet and I wanted to take the seat out and make sure it gets all dry. It's sunny and it's not really warm, but it's sunny out here today. So put the car out in the sun, remove the seat, let the carpet dry thoroughly before I vacuum it and put everything up, just so we don't get mildew or anything. That's why the seat's out. There's nothing wrong with the seat. Back to this. So, I will tell you, Porsche did not make the best design of how they mounted the face. And I'm not just saying this myself. If you guys go watch videos of, I can't think of a link one right now, but I've seen there's guys that redo steering wheels, like refurbish a leather steering wheel or add a leather strap, those things. They will tell you they didn't do the best job with how they designed the steering wheel, how they assembled it. It's tight, it's snug, it doesn't feel cheap, but it would probably been better done with bolts and screws and nuts versus pressure forced clips. And I'm going to show you why right now. So we'll get to the paddles in a second. So I've already changed this one, and I'm going to change that one next, and I'll show you that. But you see all these little holes? These are all, and I'll show you on the face of it, I have it inside. All these little holes are clips go in there with little rubberized pieces that have glue on them. And that's all that holds it on there. It's glued in pieces. I'll show you all that in a second, because you're going to break clips because they're plastic. There's no other way around it. You're going to break them. The important thing I want to show you is here's where your drop down is for your airbag, and you see that the lock ring is missing. It's because you have to remove it, and I'll show you why in a second. When we go inside, I'll show you why. So here's this paddle. We're gonna take it off. There's two reasons I'm doing it. Reason number one is this is the normal one. Here's the action on it. That's the normal action, and here is the one. The action is shorter. The throw is shorter on the left one. On the right one, it functions, but it doesn't click. Now it's become almost like haptic feedback. I'm going to take it apart and I'm going to show you what's going on the inside of that one, because I've already looked at it and tried to fix it once. But regardless, I can fix it and use it. But I actually like the feel of the shorter, smaller metal ones and the action they have. So that's why I'm installing them. It's going to take away from the carbonness of the wheel, but I don't care. I actually like the way these feel and look better. Anyways, so let me start taking this apart. What you need is, once you get to this point, you need a 7.5 millimeter socket. So these screws have slots in them, so you can use a screwdriver. But if you see on this side, they're soft. They're aluminum screws. It breaks. If you use this 7.5 millimeter, it will just come right off. Put it on loosening. Second here. I'm gonna zoom in so you can see. Put my hand out of the way. And it gets to a point where you can do it by hand. And you can see the forward one. See the screw turning in there? You can't see this one. This one you got to do it by feel. So let me get these two screws out, and then I'll show you what you got to do next. All right, once you got them loose, they're captured. They're not going to fall out. See, this one, the forward one, doesn't feel like it's all the way out. It is. Next thing you got to do is this plate here. This plate you have to remove, and the reason you can't really fully remove it. I guess you could, but you don't have to. So here's the other one. You see this bar right here? This sits, it sits on this side, but that bar comes in. And where it comes in, that's where that plate is grabbing onto. So you can't pull this out because it's grabbing onto that. So if you grab a pair of pliers, grab something like needle nose pliers, and just pull that down. See how it's coming down? Once you get out of the way, you pull this out. And be careful with the cable. Just let it come out. And voila. And that's it. And it's out. When you're tightening these two, you have to go back and forth and back and forth. And the reason is the way this sits in there, they screw into here and here. And so the reason you got to go back and forth is so this gets pulled in evenly. If you only do one side, it'll do like that, or it'll do like that, and you won't be able to get the other one in. So there's a little tiny hole right in there. That's where you fish your wire through. So fish your wire through there, and then pull your wire all the way through. There's something really important with the wire I'm going to show you in a second. After you have your wire through, you can push this in there, and you see the bar on the top? See how it comes in? And then you can use this, use the same needle nose pliers you had before to push that in place. But first, before you lock it in place, you're gonna have to adjust the wire. Now right now you see the wires just hanging out, but if you can see, there's a little loop in there, or kind of like a little curvature, and I'm gonna show you that in a second. All right, so if I was gonna push this clamp up right now, see where the wire is? It'd be on that side, and then it's gotta come around here. You're gonna put tension on it to then come around here, and then it has to do another U-turn to connect to the piece that goes on top. So what you got to do is, that's what this is for. You wiggle it a little bit and you get it underneath. Once you get it underneath, you can leave it there for the moment while you get this in place. But important thing is get it under this plate. All right, the good thing is all this material, it's almost like a galvanized rubber type material, so it's very, very flexible, very soft, very easy to work with. So now that I've pushed that bar up, and you can see under here, see how the cable goes? See, there's a little slot for it right there. That's what that curve is for, so that you don't bind and twist that cable up. That's how it's supposed to go. So be careful not to pinch the cable between here when you're changing these. Now, like I said before, you can see where this front one goes, right there. Put my hand. You can see where it goes, and you can thread it in by hand. But because this one's easy and you can see it, you can't see the one in the back. So always start the one in the back and start it first. And one thing I like to do is I'll put the socket on there, or you can do it by hand. Put the and go like loosening. So you think you have it on there, go to loosening. You'll feel it click and kind of drop in, and then you can tighten it. And I know there's an old joke that says cross-threading is nature's Loctite. Don't cross-thread these. You don't want to cross-thread this stuff. Once you think it's on there, and if you're not sure, get a couple turns in, and then you can see it's not on. But if you get a couple turns in, grab the handle from the back side and pull on it, and you can see it. You can see how the cable moves. You can see if it's moving. If it's grabbed on, and I think it is, the screw's not going to come. It's not going to move. It's the screw's holding it in place. All right, so let me get both of those on, and then we'll show you the rest. All right, they're both in, and if you look right here, see how the wires run, see how the cable is on this side? That's on the right side, and here's on the left side. You can stay zoomed in. You can see how it has a channel specifically for that cable, and you can see by the bends in them. Why is it out of focus? I don't know. But you can see by the bend that's already in it. It's because that's designed to connect directly to the back side of, and I'll show you on the back side of the steering wheel, the surface piece that goes here. But I love the way these feel. These feel like this feels when you're shifting it up and down. It's the same amount of force, same amount of throw on them. So now let's go inside, and I'm going to show you the insides of these and the other part of this. All right, so this is the inside. This is the part that goes around the hub, right, with the airbag in the middle. So if you can see here, this is, I don't know if this is layered or dipped carbon fiber. So full disclosure, I knew buying this was not 100% full carbon fiber steering wheel. Duh. A real full carbon fiber steering wheel costs anywhere from 5 to 10,000 or more. I knew that. So I'm not ignorant to the fact that it's not a true 100% carbon fiber steering wheel. This face is, I mean, it's perfect. It's probably laminated is what it is. The inside, this is plastic, and plastic brakes. Thus, the hot glue. Plastic does break. What's important about this when you pull this off, this is going to stay in your car. I should have showed you this. Loosen this, take it off the little nub, and when you yank this off, this is going to stay on the car. Take it off the car and put it back on here. Because if you don't, you see this notch? Let me pop it out. See, it's going to sit like that. And then when you go to try to put your airbag in, it's not going to want to go in because this is not in far enough. And it just pops back in place, no big deal. You just push it down and it'll lock back in place. When I have two hands, it does. Well, look on this side. I've already pushed the side in. So, and it slides normal. But you just got to pop it back in place on here before you reinstall this. This is where this is where these latch onto. These plug into the side of this. It's simple, it's idiot proof, you can't put it on wrong. One on each side. And there's your main harness plug. I was surprised that when I pulled this off. So even though I don't have all the Sport Plus, it already has the module right here, ready to go. So I guess I could get it turned on, but not worried about it. These little things, these are the things I'm talking about. So they're rubberized and they have glue, but when you pull them out, you see how they just kind of take themselves apart. These didn't break. These are still here as well. They're kind of hardened rubber plastic. They're kind of like a rubber plastic coated plastic clip. I don't know how to say it. I'm butchering it all up. But you can see they kind of break, and as they come out, they only can come in and go out so many times, and then they break. This one has come off, thus the hot glue. And I did it taking it off, but it's always fixable. You can put it back in. So these things can't come in and out a lot, but the very first time you pull it off, it's gonna be a challenge, and chances are you're gonna break these. And I broke this one. I broke it, and I just broke it clean off so it doesn't interfere. So I only have 2 points here, and it's 3 points. It should be three. Should be 3 on this side, but I broke this one off, and that's fine. It just still grabs perfectly fine. So now here's the paddles, and this is the downshift paddle, and it clicks. Doesn't travel as far as the OEM one that's installed. Though this is OEM. The only part of this that's not OEM is this physical paddle was, I have to assume, I don't know. So I'm gonna take both of these apart, and I'm gonna show you the inside of them and why I think, well, I don't know why they broke, but this one does not work like it should. This one does work, but it's pretty stiff, and it's a shorter throw than what's on the car. So let me take this apart real quick. All right, so took all the screws out both sides. See them right there. I say 4, I'm at 5. I can't count. So there's 5 screws. Those screws, what they do is they hold this aluminum plate. I have gloves on because I've taken one of these apart before, and I know how they have grease inside them, and it can be messy. So to get, you have to get, the reason you got to take that out is there's a pin in there. You've got to push that pin. You push that pin, that will release the handle. So let me push the pin. All right, so I pulled this cam out, and this cam, you can't get it in wrong because it only goes in a certain way. This cam has got a spring on it. I think part of the reason this one is stiffer is I think when they do this, they put a stiffer spring in there. So this being in there, let me put it back if I can get back in there. So that being in there, when you pull the handle, that going in like that, that's what gives you that action and spring back. And it pushes against here. This is where that cam pushes against this. And so the cam right here pushes against the front of this, and there's a little tooth or finger or whatever you want to, however you want to describe it. See that right there? That finger sits inside of there, and lets that circuit board know that you've activated it, to let it know to switch the transmission. It's pretty simple. I'm not an electronic engineer, so I can't explain it better than that. I think part of the problem when they build this is they use a base part, but then they modify it. And I think this spring that they use, and this cam is plastic. It's a cheap plastic. The spring is really strong. And this is aluminum with either a laminate or a carbon fiber dip on top of it, which is fine, no problem. I knew what it was, and it looks amazing. So why didn't I put this paddle into the new one? Because the new one, or because the ones I just put in the car, because the ones I just put in the car work perfect. They've got the warranty seal sticker on them, which means they've never been opened. I don't want to touch them. They work perfect. Let's leave them alone. Well, I'm assuming they work perfect. I still haven't driven the car, but they feel like they work perfect. We're going to drive the car after all this and make sure they work perfectly. I don't want to take the risk of messing them up. So we're going to leave those how they are. Because I don't have this faux carbon fiber in there, I don't care. Not a big deal. Now let's take apart the other one that I think is broken inside. All right, so the screws are out. I haven't pulled the pin. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. Try to use one hand. All right, pin is out. Sorry, somebody's cutting grass in the background and I got the garage door open. All right, so there's your mechanism. And did I mention earlier, these are made by TRW. They are not Porsche parts. It's a TRW part, but it's TRW made for Porsche. I don't know if it'll focus. Came all the way. Can't get it to focus right now. There we go. It is, so there's the name or part number or whatever you want to. Here's your part number. And it is a TRW part. And it's made for Porsche. Part of that top number is cut off, so I can't tell because of the way the gap is. If that's 7.1 or 7L or 7I. But that's the base number for this. Probably there's a Porsche part number for it, and it probably costs some astronomical number. All right, so that's off. And so we're looking at the same thing. We're going to look at the cam that goes right here, right? This is the one for this side. Let's look at the cam on this side. First of all, it's not there. That's part of the problem. It's completely gone. So it broke. So there's the spring. There's the spring and there's the body. So the little tip should look like that. Should look like that. With, sorry. Our recording skills are not great today. That spring should go inside there and it should look like that. So that's missing the piece here. Which, let's see, is it gonna fall? Oh, there it is. Well, there's our problem. There's one reason why it was not shifting right or was really tight. But I really have a problem with the fact that these springs, they look like a spring in a pen, but I can tell you they've got a ton of force. I can barely squeeze it. I'm not exaggerating this for the video. I am squeezing them up hard, and it barely goes down. These are very stiff springs to be putting on a plastic body. So I'm not surprised it broke. This part is probably fine. There's probably nothing wrong with this. There's nothing wrong with the bezel, of course, and there's nothing wrong with this handle because this is a solid piece. Let me get that off there. This is one solid piece. So there's nothing wrong with this. So theoretically, I can take these handles, both of them, and install them into the new paddles I got. But like I said, the paddles I got seem to work perfect. Don't want to touch them, and I like them being shorter because this is pretty long. I mean, how long is it? How long is this thing? It's like, look how long that thing is. It's humongous. It looks cool as hell. Yeah, it looks totally, gives you that Lamborghini, Ferrari paddle shift vibe. But they're really long. I don't like the feel of these. They don't have, they just feel cold and hard. They don't, the aluminum ones got a little bit more curve. They're shorter, but they have a better finger grip on them, if that makes any sense. But especially now seeing the interior of this plastic, these little broken plastic pieces, I don't want to mess with it. I do not want to break more plastic on something, on a mechanism, and then defeats the point of having your paddles. I mean, you can still shift with the shifter, and it's still PDK, but that defeats the purpose. So I think we're going to leave these paddles off for now. I'm not going to throw them away, because as you guys have seen on my channel, I get bored and I will go back and do things that I said I wouldn't do. So we'll leave these paddles here. We'll save them. We're going to save the base housing, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with the base housings. They work, because even with that broken thing, if I pulled the right paddle for upshift, it upshifted. So I know they're functional. I'm going to put it all back together, just so everything's stored together. And maybe if I can find somebody who can make me one of these in aluminum, maybe then that would be worth it. Then if we could scan this and make an aluminum cam exactly like this, that actually might work better for using these again in the future. But for now, we're going to put these back together, and then I'm going to show you how to reinstall this wonderful thing, and that's it. And then we'll go for a ride. All right, so you can see I got it connected, left side and right side. They're both connected. And then you can and you're not going to pinch the cable because it's too short to get stuck behind this. It'll go on the side of it. So then you just start bringing this in. Now remember, before I bring this in, let me just show you again. So you've got, it goes in, see, it goes in there. It goes in there. I don't have this inner one because I broke it. On the bottom, you've got 4 places to goes in. So just line it up. Pretty simple, straightforward. The most important thing about removing and installing this is that you go evenly. Don't pull more on one side than the other. Don't pull on these little edges at first, because it's going to break. Try to get behind this piece, under this part where the hub is the strongest. Once you get it coming, then you can kind of get your fingers there, but try to get your fingers like way behind there, not on the very edge. You'll crack it. So you just get it on there. Get it on there, and then you just press it in, and you'll feel it sink in. Let me use both hands for this. All right, one more thing I forgot, very important. So the spring here, slide it up as far as it'll go. This is the lock, or the lock bar for your airbag. Get it up as high as it'll go, so that when you push this in, it goes over the aluminum base here and does not get, so it goes up and over that, so it doesn't get stuck on it. Make sure your harness here, your main harness here, is not pinched. This is self-explanatory. There's nothing to do with this. Just keep it out of the way, and then just press this in. So let's try to press it in. All right, so it's 90% of the way in. It's got you'll feel it almost clunk in place. You'll feel these things sink in. It doesn't pick it up on camera, but you'll see right now how there's a gap. Watch. Zoom out, watch the gap. See how the gap went away? The bottom's already in. And this side's in. All right, so just press all the way around it and make sure it's good. Make sure your gaps, there's no gap here. There's no gap here. It's nice and tight around here, and it is. It's very tight. The bar, don't forget now to put your spring back. All right, final step, get the airbag in. So let's get the airbag in like this. There it is, bam. Airbag installed, aluminum paddles with the carbon fiber wheel. I actually kind of like that. I like the contrast of the carbon fiber with the aluminum, because it goes with the rest of the car. Aluminum, 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 carbon fiber, aluminum, aluminum. I like that contrast, not too much carbon. So let's connect the battery and go for a ride. By the way, I got the seat back in. I forgot to show you guys that. As usual, all the dogs want to come. They want to be the validators of the test. So ignore the airbag light that I have on. That's because I removed the passenger seat, and the passenger seat has an airbag in it. It has a side airbag in it. So I have to clear that with the with my iCar soft scanner. Shift up. Perfect. Shift up again. Perfect. Shift down. Perfect. Shift down again. Perfect. So the paddles work great. I like these. I like the feel of these. They feel really good, really natural. Overall, it works perfectly. And I actually like the way the aluminum paddles look with this carbon fiber. It's a good contrast, and it's also not so obtrusive that they're not so big that they block the view. So let's go to diagnostics. We'll go to Porsche. It just gives you the version. I hit enter. You can update this. You can take the little micro SD card out of it and go. You have to have a PC though, and you go to iCar Soft, and the software is free, and they always update it. So 997. We'll do a manual scan. We don't want to do smart scan because it'll scan everything. Well, you know what? Let's do a smart scan. That's fine. It goes fast on this car. I forget. This car is really quick. It's the when I do it on the Audi or the Passat, it takes a while. On this car, it scans fast. So it scanned everything pretty quick. We want to go to, let's look at, it's not that one. I'm pretty sure it's in supplemental protection. Let's go here. Read fault code. Passenger thorax airbag above upper limit. That's because we disconnected the harnesses. And actually I did that without disconnecting the battery. And see, there's 5 of them. So we'll just go number 2, PSM, control unit drive, communication gateway, passenger seat buckle. All this is related to the passenger plug. So what we'll do is we'll go back here. We'll hit clear fault. Fault code and freeze data will be erased. F1 to cancel, F2 to OK. So we'll press F2. Operation done. We'll go back, and then we'll hit read fault code again and see what happens. No faults. And then we can, without touching anything else, turn the car on and see if that airbag light goes away. I just remembered something. I think you have to turn the car all the way off and then back on. Let's see if that works. No, that didn't work. Okay. Oh, yep, that worked. As soon as I turned it off, turned it back on, and did diagnostic, it's gone. Airbag light's gone. That's because of my seatbelt. Put on my seatbelt real quick, and that'll clear that one. Seatbelt on. No faults. So we're good. So let's go for a real ride and see this thing in action.